Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Trekyards. I'm Captain Foley.
I am Conor Kingston. Stuart. The title suggests this episode is about shuttles, but I'm going to throw the elephant into the room and ask you point blank. In an episode where there are many shuttles, and I've made graphics so I know the answer, but tell the audience, are there any Discovery shuttles?
No, sir.
Now, briefly, Stuart, why is that even a thing I had to say? Why my heart stops racing at the excitement of no Discovery shuttle.
Because Discovery shuttles are apparently everywhere. They're everywhere in Picard. They're in the future. They're in the past. They're just littered throughout the timeline, even though for 50 years of Star Trek we never saw them. But now that they're a thing, they were everywhere for a little while.
And we know it's because they just cheaply reused assets, but it was embarrassing. They even existed in the first episode, Discovery Season 3, so they existed from 20 years before Discovery started and then all the way into the 31st century.
As you do.
As you do. So no, Lower Decks once again avoids the trap of the silly canon. But Stuart, this was a suggestion you had. So how did you then react while seeing so much traffic going on?
Well, you know that we love ships, so I was keeping an eye out for that kind of stuff. There wasn't much in this episode in that regard. However, they did pepper a lot of shuttles in one of the first planet scene with Tendi and Mariner. And honestly, it was one that flew by the window of the shuttle as they were landing that I'm like, is that a Discovery shuttle? And I had to rewind and look. No, thank goodness. It's just the motion picture, like, tram car thing. So I thought I was going to have a problem for a second. But even we even said we'd like a kind of joke of a Discovery shuttle, maybe somewhere in the background, maybe just once. Just once. But
Or like
anyway.
crashed in a dirt and just like clear Discovery shuttle and they're like, oh, what's that piece of junk? Oh, I don't know. You can make fun of it. So I've got two graphics. I've got one is the picture which includes at least all of the noteworthy shuttles. I mean, there's just little blobs in the distance that, I mean, we're not going to look at. And the second graphic is going to be comparing the ones that we know are canon ships to how they look in the real shows, movies, whatever. And that'll just show the attention to detail that the team does have. So stay tuned for that. But the first image, big old collage, pretty varied. And there is more than this. But like I said, at a certain point, they're so out of focus and already I'm pushing on two of them. But yeah, pretty diverse. And all these had to be thought about, designed, put together.
I mean, there are a few alien designs that are more curvy and stuff there, as you can see. That's good, because this is not necessarily just a Federation outpost.
Well, I don't think it is.
Now, some of them are really cool designs. The one with, like, the spoiler on the back, I think that's really neat. It's probably based on some kind of concept design that never actually got made, because it's actually a really nice design. I also love the way those nacelles are shaped on that one.
Yeah, my gut reaction is that's a fresh design because of the amount of differences. Like, because where would that fit in the timeline? Like, if the nacelles were just TNG ones, yes. But everything is so custom. I think that's something that someone just drew and had fun. It's my gut reaction.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, when the shuttle actually lands, you can see kind of the front of it as well. I love the nacelle shape. It's just such a cool looking ship. So I would like to learn more about that one and actually get a model of it because I really think that's a fantastic design.
And it even has like RCS thrusters, Efferton, and they're very like a Oberth nacelles, kind of that odd shape. I mean, closer to anyway. And the one that stood out to me was the was on next to it on the collage, the right one, which is a TNG shuttle. And we'll see the graphic of it compared to the real one in a minute. But this one I didn't even know existed until Egamos announced one because it was like in the background of two shots in TNG in the far distance and a space dock. It's like, this was a miniature they made that was this many pixels in SD and this many pixels in HD. And it's still very hard to see. And yet they made a rather good faithful replica and now I know what it is. I'm like, that is a nice touch. Good job.
Yeah. Well, what's it called? The actual, do you know? Or
It's the Cargo Shuttle Type 9A, and according to the Egamos website, it made its debut in the Star Trek TNG Technical Manual. I do believe it's in one of the other shots as well, but at least it's in that technical manual. And it's not exactly the same design, but this is also, 25 years later, so that's fine.
That's cool, actually. I didn't even know that existed either until just this second. So thank you, Samuel, for showing us that. We do have the Type 15 as well, this nice little shuttle pod, which shows up everywhere, and that's fine. So
I even put it a long way from home.
I mean, there's other ones scattered in through it. There looks like a Type 6 variant, kind of, like the Goddard. Same shape nacelles and stuff.
Well, I like there's just like a bus, the bottom right, it's like a space bus.
You got one that looks very similar to Galileo as well,
I think so.
which I didn't see. I didn't even notice that one. So
And I quite like the fact that the third down from the right gives me Narek's fighter vibe from Picard.
mm-hmm. Snakehead or the Copperhead.
There you go, yeah. But Stuart, while the alien designs are fun, I think every shuttle here is a good design. I mean, varying degrees. I mean, a shuttle is meant to be the simplest sort of thing. There's no elaborateness of going in a shuttle, Anyone can buy a shuttle. But the next view, or the next graphic, is the direct comparison side-by-sides with, I think, the 4 that are represented. And here you go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, starting off with the one I thought was a Discovery shuttle, and as it flies by really quick, you can see why I maybe thought that. But that's the one on the right there, the motion picture tram thing that Kirk gets off of. It's basically a train because it comes in and lands. So
Super obscure in the grand scheme. This takes real thought to put in, and while the Discovery Age shuttle idea is laughable given the amount of everywhere it is, it's fine if it was a one-off. All of these ships and shuttles built by Starfleet the Federation, it would be likely would get phased out, resold, or traded, whatever, given to old colonies. So it makes sense that the Federation tech, which for the most part dwarfs the civilian stuff, because of course they're pushing forward tech, and so at a certain point, I would say a huge percentage of just the shuttles in the galaxy of the Federation, are going to be ex-Starfleet variants, and even a type. In the shuttle pod, as long as it's got warp, you can get from A to B. They don't care about necessarily going to warp 9, etc. And so it makes a lot of sense to see a huge mass of them being old. But then you look at the TNG the pod, and it's like it is the same, but also just feels different. They all feel a bit and also it's animated, but they would be the same basics, but then tweaked by the new owners, and that's kind of the vibe you want to get. Everything's like a slight kit bash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the thing. If you notice, like a lot of them have wraparound windows when they, they normally wouldn't, or just different shape windows and things like that. And I think that's okay. Like you said, it is years on, and perhaps these are older ones that have been modified. Yes. But no Discovery shuttles. Yeah. So just like that's the Type 15C. It's got a different window. Maybe it's one of the ones that came later. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, the cargo shuttle's interesting as well. I'm glad you pointed that out because I never even knew that existed, and that's a really cool design actually for TNG. I wish we would have seen more of that because that's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, and even it's clearly the same thing, but they've made it less long. No, it is literally like where's Waldo, and we found several Worth Waldos.
Yeah. Just going back to the other picture for 1 second. That one in the lower right that you said was like a bus is quite interesting. That one stood out to me because it was like in the foreground, like really close to camera. And it's kind of un-Star Trek-y in the way that it's got like fins or wings. But I think it's an interesting design nonetheless. That's what I mean. Some of these look like they could have been concept sketches that just got changed into something else,
Well, if you take, that stuff was in Voyager and Enterprise, there's a plethora of John Eves and Rick Sternbach others, which could be utilised, and it certainly adds to the lore to include them and, makes them canon, etc., etc. But also you can just do simple shapes. And I'm sure some of the reused from older episodes, although they mostly seem new to me, although I think the one in the direct middle is familiar for some reason. I'm not sure why.
That one is familiar, and so is the one just below that to the left. Looks like a fighter of sorts.
Yeah.
For some reason, that's sparking something in my brain. I just can't lock on to what it is. So if anybody out there knows, put it in the comment section. The one on the right, that's second down, it just looks like a Type 1 phaser. Honestly, it's got that simplistic design, It could definitely be that. So.
Well, I appreciate that a lot of the stuff's all about the subtlety. Even though it was flying traffic, it didn't feel like Coruscant. And that isn't a bad thing necessarily, but it managed to keep away from that feel. I do think that the shuttle design in Star Trek, and there being so much variety, in general has a different profile than just the traffic in Coruscant. Have them not just be like cars, because that, it's more the Trek way. So I appreciate that for the most part it's that, although if you just live on the planet, you're going from planet to planet, parts of the planet to parts of the planet, you might just have a space car. You don't need to have these elaborate things. But it's that fine balance of being not quite Trekky, and obviously most of these background ships don't have anything that necessarily grabs you all at Star Trek, but that's why having a bit of everything, sprinkling in the familiar, the new, the variant, why wouldn't you, if you were doing, like if you're doing a TOS era show, like a TMP, and you went to an alien planet, why wouldn't you expect to see like an artist do like 26 variants of the Type F with kit-bashed elements? Aliens have grabbed a Type F over the course of 15 years, and like new nacelles, new back, new spoiler, new impulse, like, and then see them flying around, because that's what you do. You'd take the kit, you'd change it, you'd make it your own, and you'd see variations. So I think that's a really good option to do for these shuttles. Just take those basics and then just make your own custom.
Mm-hmm. But that opens up the question: why is the Discovery Shuttle so unchanged every time we see it in the future?
But it's repainted to be a bus.
Oh, and a taxi. Oh yeah, that's right.
Even though they could beam there.
Anyway, such a downer to leave on, but
it's not. I mean, Discovery and Picard brought us one shuttle recycled at verbatim, and one episode of Lower Decks brought us like 4 canon designs and a plethora of uncanon new things, as well as previous episodes where we actually, we were contemplating, is the Lower Deck shuttle actually a Type 6, but cartoonified, and then we saw a Type 6. Yeah, exactly. And then we saw a Type 6 landed at exactly as it should look. So it's like, no, they do know it is original, and the Titan comes along. They have their own shuttle variant. So it's they don't fall into these traps. Okay, it's easier, it's animated, sure, fine, yes, but good job. All credit.
Yeah. So comment down below, guys, what you guys saw or noticed. Did you notice all of these? Did we spark your imagination? Do you recognize any of the ones that we don't? Let us know in the comment section. We love reading those and having you guys interact with us. And make sure that you hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to all notifications so you get notified when we do live, so you can also be a part of the community and the discussion as well there. And don't forget to hit like. It's really easy to do, and it's free.
And if you can, will, should, and was, please support us on Patreon. Monthly service. We do rely on it to help fund this show, this channel, and everything we do, but now in the future. Or the same thing, but the YouTube variant is just go on the channel, click join, there are set membership amounts, you get special little things, and we know who you are in the chat, which we love. The lives, speaking of those lives, the super chats are super cool, super amazing, super great. They are super chats, but and of course PayPal if you want to, but really just come in and join us again. Those views, likes, and comments do make a difference. So thank you in advance, and we'll see you next time.
That's right. So until then, I'm shuttling on out of here, and I'm Captain Foley.
And I'm just going to beam because it's quicker.
No, I like shuttling. I'm trying.
Bye, guys.
Bye.